It's a brand new day. Hey, hey, hey. It's a brand new day. Halfway twisted.
Ambassador, good morning. Thank you ever so much for giving me some of your precious minutes to talk about the forthcoming coronation of King Charles III. I really appreciate it.
It's a great pleasure, Nicole. It's lovely to be with you and to be virtually at least down in Malaga, and looking forward to this great weekend.
I'm sure it's going to be just spectacular. And if I'm not wrong, I imagine the British Embassy here, well, in Madrid, will also be doing some kind of celebration for this great event.
Yes, of course. Well, what we will be having a big celebration in Madrid, not on the event itself, because everybody obviously wants to be watching the event at the time. But some days afterwards, we're going to be holding a big event in the Galeria de Cristal, this wonderful big open space in the Palacio de Cibeles in the middle of Madrid. So that will be, we hope that will be good fun. We're doing that on the 17th.
Well,
but this weekend, what we're doing, I mean, frankly, we'll be having a few people around, a few friends to watch the event at home, just like lots of people, I guess.
It's going to be very exciting. I know everyone's making plans. When we celebrated the Queen's Jubilee, you mentioned about how honoured and proud you were that she was such a great boss, and to have served under her for so many years was really inspiring for you. It was lovely to hear you actually say how much it meant to you. Can I ask, what's it like suddenly having a new boss in such an emblematic role?
That's a very good question. I mean, I think it's been such a series of shocks, in a sense, from the wonderful celebration of the Jubilee, and then really quite a short while afterwards. You know, the death of the Queen and everything that went with that. We got quite an outpouring of emotion from people from sort of all walks of life and all nationalities here who came to sign condolence books and so on, and moving into the transition of having a new monarch for the first time since for over 7 decades. So it's quite a thing, isn't it? I am, though, you know, it's incredibly. It's a great honour to be representing His Majesty now, having represented Her Majesty. Frankly, we're all getting a little bit used to that, and but there's no sort of huge difference. It remains a tremendous honour.
And I imagine it's quite an honour also that you now will go down in history as the British ambassador who served under 2 monarchs. I mean, that's a pretty big deal.
Well, it hasn't happened for a while, certainly.
So that's kind of cool in itself. Talking about like the loss of our Queen, I know that I cried when I heard the news. I was at an enormous event and suddenly I was just knowing it was coming, but it didn't soften the blow. But I think that's when we bring out the best of British. I mean, we are renownedly stoic. What does being British as an ambassador in a foreign country, what would you say being the best of British actually does represent? I know my idea. We queue well, we're good at queues, we hide our emotions, we shake our children's hands instead of hugging them. What would be your perception?
Well, there are all those cultural differences, aren't there? I jumped a queue the other day by accident. I felt terribly guilty, so I must still, that shows I'm still really British, I think, despite having been here for a few years. I think that you're right. It was a very emotional moment. Just to go back to that for a second, and strangely, it's strange, isn't it? Because Queen Elizabeth, obviously a monarch, been around for a very long period of time, not somebody that you and I know deeply well personally, and yet it felt like something quite personal. That, I think, was the slight strangeness that some people felt. Quite a lot of people, actually. And there were some people were very surprised by that. They thought, why on earth am I feeling this as something personal when I don't, I didn't know Queen Elizabeth. But I think, as you say, I don't know whether it's stoicness, but it's just get on with the job, keep calm and carry on, really. No?
It is. Yes.
So this has been very much about continuity. about a seamless movement from one monarch to another, showing that the institutions are absolutely rigorous, stable. The funeral itself was an extraordinary event in all the visual aspects. I'm sure the coronation this weekend will be as well, along with the traditional side, along with all the fun and the community work and the community spirit. I think that, well, I think what King Charles is looking for from this weekend is to really to show the best of British, because it's not just about the Saturday, it's also about the big lunch on the Sunday, which is all about community, it's all about bringing people together. And then it's the big help out on the Monday, which is all about contributions, it's about helping other people, and it's about the tremendous sort of, I think, really, really great thing. For some reason, Brits, we just like sort of supporting organisations and joining NGOs and helping out and mucking in. And that's just one of those characteristics which I've seen so much down in Malaga province as well, with lots of different organisations. I mean, it comes to mind. I was visiting Cudeca last time I was down there, for example. But there are many different organisations at Intre I'm thinking of, and Age UK, lots of different organisations.
British Benevolent Fund. I mean,
absolutely,
the list goes on.
Yeah, no, you will know far better, and your watchers will know far better than I, all the organisations, but lots of people participating. That's a really great thing about Britain. That's what the weekend's going to feel like, I hope, a bit as well.
I do hope so too, because I think it's nice to celebrate. We've been through a few years where the British reputation hasn't been at its best, particularly living abroad in Europe. So it's nice to see something that it would seem that even the national Spanish and everyone and the British, we can feel proud of and not hang our head in shame of the mess and the extra work we've created for the locals.
It has never been my perception that I have felt the need to hang my head in shame at all. I have been extremely proud to be the British ambassador here. Of course, you go through thick and thin in all sorts of different ways, but I have been and remain extraordinarily proud. And I just need to look, because whatever the changes, I know, of course, I know very well that Brexit's been hard for people, the change and the shift, and there are all sorts of issues. But we haven't changed as a nation. Our values haven't changed. The essence you've just been talking about, Nicole, hasn't changed. And you just look at what we've done around the Russian invasion of Ukraine, where we've taken a fantastic leadership role, been completely constant and steadfast in our support for Ukraine, because that has been what has been the right thing to do. Those values haven't changed. I'm very proud.
You have to be very proud. I mean, you come into a very mixed British community living abroad and all the people who come to visit. And I think yourself and your team can but feel proud, because you've always been there and it's been a very supportive embassy throughout everything. I just know personally, I got a lot of blame that we left the European community because it was something we just decided. It was saying, but it's nice with the time that has dissipated from the locals and they realise it's just all change and get on with it.
Yeah, very much so. Get on with it. Keep calm and carry on.
Keep calm and carry on. It's like the carry on.
And have a good party this weekend, I hope.
Yes, exactly. Well, I really appreciate your time, Ambassador. I know you're very busy. A big thank you to your team for once again making time to contact with the normal everyday folk that live in Spain, because without you, I think a lot of us would be quite lost, and I include myself.
Well, it's a great pleasure, and I'm sorry that I'm only there virtually. I really look forward to coming down to Malaga province again soon. I'm not quite sure when my next visit is, but it's definitely planned, so it won't be long.
Well, I was very honoured when you first came into ambassadorship here in.
We met in Mijas, didn't we?
We did. Or somewhere down towards Manilva. But I do remember that you were recently appointed, had the opportunity of meeting yourself and your wife, having an interview with you. And it's nice to see that you're settled and enjoying the delights of the country.
Absolutely. Well, nice to talk to you, Nicole. Thanks very much. And enjoy this very special weekend.
Thank you. You too. Congratulations.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.